Mimmom. Sending Tristram. We get the entire galaxy, I'm afraid. But anyway, in relation to the third developer for the Mokasson, the law is that the intermission of the legacy is based upon the transla, because the transla is just a precision of the apodu, because the apodu is based upon the 12 apostle. No, apodu is just like French dog. No, whoever created the entire plant sun is a dioshon of law, and in that way, if it can convince itself into the plexuson, it will perform itself into the network of the oblong, because the oblong is based upon the transition of the blekantan, because in that measurement of time, the conflict will be bruxason into the lawyer, because in relation to the lawyer, the transition will actually be oxytional into the aglasa, because in that way, if there is a crescenon of the mankasan, we will perform itself into the elegacy. Yes. Spaceship star spaceship transmission to the home. No. The slow processor based upon the Shiksasan is the negative, because in that time, if we can, is he Xavier? Anyway, in relation, in relation to the transit, the data of the third amount of dollar is the nokoso or law, because in that time, if we can toshasan into the relation, we need to develop the next procession of the solar system. The solar system is really beautiful thing in this galaxy, but the other galaxy has a different solar, because in that time when we know that the different solar is accretion in relation to the Balaka Dasasara Koshonchon, because the relationship to build for, we need to rokoson the law in relation to the Balaksan Dasan, because in that time, if this is a 3D glass in relation to the Mokasan of the cinema, we will person the law. That God can handle that one. So in that moment of time, the unicorn is just a Nixon of Dolo, Johnny Depp, to Kushno. Yes, Dolo. Because based upon Dixon, it is not really. Based upon Dixon, it is the transition of the pro show. Because the pro show is that once we know how to convert into the instrument of the timer, we can also police ourselves into the compliance of the network and to aura the electrical. And in that time, if you get the award in relation to your relationship, you will build into the next succession. I have the sixth sense, you know. So anyway, in the relationship to Gadi, the next Plutosson and Koshon, I don't mind what you get, it's yours though, when you get the award. But anyway, in the complexity of the network is that the Ono Fong is that the Dichokophon of the prison is an amount of 5C, 26 and 4C, but 50 cents in relation to your work that you have been, the next decusson of your own Liluk is by the Belmont, is the father of the Coplum. So in that way, the pluxuson of law is the instana. So Guanxin Busa, the synthesis of law is based upon the shanton. So imagine when you do a fish finger, flip this through to enema. Just like when I was in U10, sort of. But in that way, when we conflict the enemy, we will position ourselves into the compliance of the Ono, because in that way, with the citizen of law, the Mikatsan of his own law is the thesis, because the fire brigade in relation to the threshold of the breach, not yet, is the Nicholson. Yes. So why did Nicholson was the president in the US back in the past? What happened? We all work together in relation to our development, because in time when we know how to kokusosong our own buffalo of baboon is an instruction of the Buddhism. So in relation to the first word Buddhism, it is the conflict of our own Gandaktan, because the black star will be Pelukshukshol, but it's hard though. So in that time, when we supplement into the Transun, we will position ourselves into the compliance of its norm. And in that way, if the supplement is only 36, 28, and 34 for font is any Kershang. So in that way, if we can program the data of the compliance, the network will aura into the transistor, because the transistor is a nekoton of nicotine. But based upon your own way, have you tried to help people to quit smoking? In what way? Survivor? Control means you're trying to make money, to balance money. Governor, no. But I like it. But anyway, based upon the hospital, yes, what are those things that you gave me? It's supposed to calm me down because I have withdrawal symptoms. But it does, it's nice. But in that way, the obligation of the law is the exercise, because it reduces sin. So if you want to quit smoking, you can sell some of that, but you got to be careful though. It's a different sea. It's not drugs, it's not a smoke, it's something that's really strange. But in that way, it helps me to calm down from smoking. Yeah, because it's just withdrawal symptoms. But anyway, next time. You get, next time I buy something expensive though. I think $60 or something, I don't remember. You're blocked. But anyway, the center of the transmission will be Equalhang in the Equalhang. So, Jesus Christ, first look. So in that way, in relation to Blocksasan, the law, in relation to the transition, the law is the introduction of your third technology of the Quran, because the Quran, based upon the Blockasa, we will Blocksasan. Like so, in relation to the Kushon. Namo Ajid. So in that way, once we know how to bar the Wall Street, sell a pin. Once we know how to bar the Wall Street, the intuition of the Blakasa is the caution of Gatan, because Gazon will happen later, because each planet has a different gas in relation to our oxygen, as well as the accretion of the alchemistry in relation to production. So the relay in relation to the quantum is that the PSU is the nickname of production. So in that time, the PC gear will inflation the third amount of how many years and into Badakoton. So the Terminator will illuminate into the cushion sun. And in that time, if our computer system is only 32, 48, and 59, is only a bracket sum of pin A. And in that way, the pin A is based upon the hyperdron of blah blah, which is hypernom. So in event of horizon, the center of the 52 Troshashan is the lekane of our law, and to insist the phototon. And in that way, digitally, understanding of the doctrine of the Diva is the Nakutan of Anam. According to Diva. So in that way, if the confluction of our law is an isolation of diffraction, is the Nakutan of unity. So each custom that we proclaim by blue pie is the Nakutan of smokers. So in that time, no, disagree. So in that time, when we flexison the law, we will perform our nickname, because in Dakanatasan, based upon the ambulance, the requisition of your law is an insist of Tokoto, which means grong. So how come down Warga Road there's another hospital? I know you guys try to do things and measure things in relation to the economy, but the economy is the Pamplang, which means how are we going to do? So based upon the nitticist of Nong Nong, the Mantasan of our law is the Wokrong of Wella by age. Indai te kasa.